Do you love all things spooky, a little haunted, and full of mystical intrigue? Would you like expert insights from a professional psychic medium while connecting with an open-hearted community that gets you? Join the Haunted Road Trip Show Patreon at www.hauntedroadtripshow.com/Patreon and unlock deeper dives into the supernatural, exclusive discussions, and a place to share your own eerie experiences. Plus, patrons get special discounts on classes, behind-the-scenes content, and more to die for. Laughter is guaranteed, even the dead laugh. In paranormal history, it's dying to be heard.
Welcome to the Haunted Road Trip Show, where we bring you powerful conversations, insights, and exciting site investigations that reveal the paranormal world in a way you've never seen before. Prepare to have your thirst for curiosity satisfied.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Haunted Road Trips Show. Thank you for tuning in once again, because I know you like the goody spooky stuff. And I have a really phenomenal guest. Well, I think all my guests are phenomenal. But I have with me Miss Deima. And she is not really in the paranormal world, but she does deal with issues of people getting ghosted quite a bit and unable to figure out why are they getting ghosted. And you might say, like, is she a relationship coach? No, not in the way that you think that she is a relationship coach. She actually helps people keep money from ghosting them. So she keeps the permanent hauntings in your wallet because you want to be haunted by your money every day instead of ghosted by it. So welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Thanks for having me. Doing great.
Yes, on here. So we just met a short while ago and we kicked it off pretty good. And I said, the information and the foundation that you have started is just so valuable. We have to figure out a way for you to get on to my podcast. And here we are.
Yes.
Yes. Tell everybody what you do.
So I am a fiduciary, a financial advisor. I work across all 50 states in the United States, and I have clients pretty much everywhere.
Wow.
And I came to this industry as a second career, actually. I didn't start my life here. I wasn't groomed into the industry, but I came to it as a pure need. And here I am, helped myself, and now I'm helping thousands and thousands of more people. So
right.
Exciting.
It is exciting. And we are going to be getting to that topic about that. But I wanted you to share a few you said you had some ghostly stories maybe that you wanted to share of your own paranormal activity, right?
Yes.
Share away, my darling, because my audience loves.
Which story? Energy. I feel that the paranormal world is energy, and just because we can't see it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so growing up, we used to travel a lot.
Where are you from?
Yeah, and sometimes you go to these places where there is activity, right? Like you can see things that are abnormal and hear them. And I feel that children, more so than adults, can see more, perhaps. I mean, I don't know. As a child, I literally had no filters, right? You didn't know if it was okay or not, good or bad. You had no judgment. So I could see a lot. Yeah. So one of my favorite stories is one of my aunts growing up lived in a haunted home.
Where is this? Give me locations in the world. Where are we?
This was in Jordan.
Okay.
We would go and visit, and she had just bought this beautiful home, and there was just a lot of activity in that house. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, right? So you'd be sitting in one side of the home and there's like chatter and activities in the other room, and you'd go there and there's no one there. And you're like, what was I hearing? Right. And of course, you're not the only one. Everybody made it the same citations. Everybody said, and then stuff started happening. So yeah, I've definitely seen and heard things. And those particular ghosts weren't the friendly kind. They were a bit upset. And so, I mean, the second we started realizing that, we're like, well, we can't really stay here very long. And actually, even my aunt didn't stay in that house for very long. You know, it really affected her life a bit negatively. And then eventually she ended up just moving on. It's like, this is not for me. But she tried to work with it. It was just really hard. So that's my favorite ghost stories of all time.
And how old were you when this was going on?
Kindergarten into first grade, around there.
Into first, okay. That makes sense, because when we're young like that, we are still very, very connected.
We are.
You know, that's why the saying goes straight out of the mouths of babe. I always say, listen to your kids, because maybe not everything's not 100% true, but it's like, take a broad brush about that, take because they don't perceive the world in the way that adults do. They don't have the experience, the conceptual experience, and they're really open, because to me, like, kids, they're sponges. They want to get information. They want to understand, the world, their people around them, their bodies, what's going on. And so do you remember having interactions, like, personally there, like seeing something or hearing like a spirit in the house?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I remember going into the kitchen one time. There was a lot of noise, like somebody's making a meal or something. And you're like, well, it wasn't mealtime. There wasn't anybody in the kitchen. So went into the kitchen and there was like no one there, but every drawer was open. What is going on here? Called my aunt, and my aunt thought that the lady that she hired for help was opened every drawer to clean the kitchen or do something. And she actually wasn't doing any of that. So, things like that, just stuff that would just happen and you have no clue why, right? It would be there. But then sometimes I would see that my aunt used to have a room on the rooftop that was almost like, think of it like an attic, because it's a villa, so it had like a flat roof.
Okay.
And there was a room in the middle of that space. And it had some windows and a big metal door and all of that. But she would store old toys in it, okay? And we would love to go up there. They always tell us, hey, kids, don't go up, on your own, whatever. But we just didn't listen, we just ran up. And sometimes you would hear, like, you're coming up the stairs and you think, oh, they're already there playing. Like, I would think that my cousins are already there, like, playing. And I can hear, like, the bikes going and the little bells and, all kinds of toys. And then I would go there and peek through the little window and I'm like, there's no one in there. But those are the times that I didn't go in, because I'm like, this is spooky. I don't know what this is, but I need to go find where my cousins are, because I thought they were playing there, but they wouldn't. Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Now, do you know if those toys were like hers that she bought and just one owner toys, or were these just like kind of like, I picked them up randomly from somewhere else and brought them?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure the history of the toys or how they came about. But she has 4 children. Yeah, so they would throw out of things all the time and she would use it for storage.
Okay.
And then somebody would be playing with it and you would hear it. You would be so certain. Like, even an adult would be standing in the staircase and it's like, hey, Deima, just run up. I think your cousins are playing up there. Or maybe they're up there getting some toys. And then I go up and I'm like, there is not a soul in here that I can see. You could hear it when you weren't looking, but once you start looking, and then sometimes, of course, objects shift, So like, if you put a bicycle over here, all of a sudden it shifts to the other side of the room and you're like, who moved it?
Wow.
You can imagine the conversations in that house, right? Every time 2 people would talk, it's like, well, I put it there. Like, where did it go? It's like, well, I didn't touch it. It's like, then who touched it? It's all these conversations which caused conflict and friction between people, right? Naturally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that spirit probably did that because they wanted you out the house.
They probably did. I think it was a very unhappy, unsettled spirit. And at the time, I know my aunt and her family, they decided to hire some help and try to do something to make peace with the spirit and the souls in the space. And it just would not work. I mean, things would calm down for a little bit and then it would get rowdy again. And so eventually they decided, okay, we just can't really work with that situation. And they moved on. Yeah, one time I was on my roller skates. So I'm so active, still very active. But as a child, you can always find me on my roller skates and I go up and down stairs with them. I slide on ramps. Like, I was just out and about, just having fun. And so she had all these balconies around the house. And one of the balconies had accessibility. It had a ramp. And I was just going up and down. And I could even climb trees with my skates. I could go up and down stairs. Like, I was so skilled, like nothing. I wouldn't get hurt or anything. I was very capable. But I remember I was like literally just standing there and looking at that ramp. And I'm like, I wonder if I can just run through the ramp and then be able to pick an apple because there was an apple tree on the other side. I'm like, if I go through it, will I be able to reach far enough to pick that apple on the way? And I remember something that felt like somebody pulled the rug from underneath me, like completely. And I went flat down, like just my back hit the ground in a 90-degree angle. And I lost my breath. I could not breathe. Like the breath went out. And I started turning blue. My cousins were there, and they started calling for my mom and the other adults. And they came, and it's like, breathe. And I can see everyone. I can't speak and I can't breathe. And anyhow, they started getting ambulance and help and whatever. But then I took a breath and I just got up and kept going. And everybody's like, who pushed her? And it's like, we did not touch her. Like nobody did. And then I turned around and I told everyone, I said, these people did not do it. Somebody else did. You know, I feel something was pulled from underneath me. And everybody's looking at me. It's like, really? And my mom said, we can't stay here. We're leaving. I almost lost my daughter. Yeah, they were not happy spirits. I can just say that much.
No, that seems like that was a very angry
Yes.
energies that were definitely did not like noise kids or families at all.
Yeah, there's always conflict. Always something to argue about, to ask questions about. Like that was kind of the energy of the home. Yeah, it was interesting.
Wow, that sounds like, there was a lot going on. And
I tell you what, one time I went to a hotel, I was going on training. So I came from the tech industry originally. And so I was taking this technical course in Newark, New Jersey. And there was a hotel that they booked me to stay in. And I remember going through the hotel, and I'm still very sensitive. I can feel things, everything is energy. Everything is energy. And so I can feel the energy. I don't really like the energy of this place. And I check into the hotel, and then I walk down the hall, and I'm going to my room, and I'm feeling more. And I'm like, okay, I really don't like this feeling. And I just walked into the room, locked the door, looked around. I walked right out back to the front desk, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't want to stay here. I'd like to check out. And this woman looked at me and she's like, why? And I said, I just don't want to stay here. I said, I'd like to pick a new hotel. And she literally just checked me out, apologized. If there's anything we can do to make your stay better. And I'm like, you really can't. I am out of here. And I just went to the training that morning, and I was asking my colleagues in the training, because everybody came from a different location, and asking people at the training, I'm like, well, where are you staying? What other hotels are in the area? It was not a place I'm familiar with. And that was back in the 90s, before Google was so convenient, Yelp and reviews and all of that. So I just found another hotel, and I drove to it. And I decided before I check in, I always like to walk the place. So I sort of just take a little walk. I go down the hallways, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this feels like a place I can stay. And then I just, settle in for the night or the week or whatever amount of time. And then I pack up and go home. So I think it made me smarter.
Yeah. That brings up a really good point. When you travel a lot and you're sensitive, or you're medium, or, whatever you're terming yourself as, or just being a sensitive person walking around, whether it's a Verbo or a hotel, like, trust your vibes. And
you really have to trust.
I do. And you know what? I really like staying at, if I can, it depends. I like staying at those mom and pop hotels that are more well managed and taken care of, that are owned by like a family or people that are on site, because they'll tell you what's up with the room. They'll tell you like happened there or that happened there, because unfortunately, a lot of people go to hotels to unalive themselves. Did you know that?
No, I did not know. Wow. That's
they
interesting.
do that. Yeah. I mean, there's multiple reasons, but one of the main reasons is because they don't want their family member or friend to find them.
Oh.
And they don't want to leave a mess somewhere else, like in their home or other area too.
Wow. That makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense. I like the smaller places just because it's a family run. There's usually better energy. There's more connectivity, more community. They're talking to each other. They want to bring, like, it's a nurtured, like, I don't know how to say it, but it's a place that's been nurtured, with love, with good feelings. And not every commercial building would have that, right?
No, there's not. And they'll tell you, if you stay somewhere local that's owned by the locals, they will tell you where to go and where to absolutely not go.
Yes, yes.
And
So
that,
I have that sensitivity and I just work with it now. It's like, okay, if it doesn't feel right, we have to really trust our guts, right? Like if it doesn't
yes,
feel right, then it must not be right. And I don't have to understand, like when I was, in other times, I used to be so curious, but why exactly? I wanted to know the reason. And now I don't care. I'm like, it doesn't feel right. It's good enough for me. Trust your gut.
sometimes you don't have, like I tell my students and I tell a lot of people all the time, you don't have to know,
Yes.
the why, the how, the da da da. How about you just know, like, this isn't right for you? And how about, I always tell my guides, like, I'm not about to find out the why. Like, I don't need that lesson, right?
No.
I've gone down that path before and it sucked. But
But
once
think about it. Even if you know the why, would it change how you feel or what decision you would make? It wouldn't. So if it wouldn't change any of that, what's the point of it? It's kind of a waste of energy and time to have to chase it down and figure it out because it doesn't inform you differently, right?
Exactly. And also too, like some things aren't meant for you to be solved. Some things aren't meant for you. But what I tell people is here's kind of like pro tip from a medium. Okay, everybody. So if you have to go somewhere and stay outside of your normal, domicile, right? A hotel, a Verbo, a relative's house, somewhere that's unknown, and you're kind of like, it's a new, maybe you have a hard time just getting settled into places, right? We'll just say that. I always say, ask one of your loved ones in the spirit world to come and help, either, make the place feel more friendlier or to make it feel safer, like keep the door safe, clear the area for you, ask them to give you signs that they're there for you, right? And then that way you feel like you don't have to manage that energy on your own. You have a team in the spirit world that can come in and help you in ways that like either A, you're not able to, or B, don't want to.
I love it. That's really good advice. That's really, really good advice. I feel that our spirit guides and family members who passed on, they want to help. And sometimes they just don't know how. And we just need to speak up and say, here is where you could help me. And they're always standing by watching over us. So that's really, really good advice, Tracy.
Yeah. And I tell people too, like, if you were in the spirit world, wouldn't you want to help your relative? And like, let's face it, like when you're in the spirit world, like the things you don't have to deal with are a job, money, time, a body, planning to do. You got options.
Right.
You could be in multiple places at multiple times. Like, so I always say, use your resources, and that might not be what you consider like a tangible resource like money can be. It's still a resource is what I say on that.
I love it. So, that's really good advice. I love it.
Speaking of money, you work with a lot of clients who have a problem with money ghosting them, don't you?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I always say, where's your money? And they're like, well, I'm not really sure. I didn't look. I didn't check. I'm like, if your money was an employee, you would have fired it already. Why don't you know where your money is and what it's doing for you, right?
Girl, that's what I tell people about people when they call me and they say, is my ex coming back? Are they miserable without me? Are they this? Are they that? And I tell them, I go, if your ex was an employee of your company and based upon their performance, would you rehire them or fire them?
There you go. Yeah. So I always say that I want to love what loves me back, right? I want to invest in things that are good to me. So money is just like anything else. I mean, I'm a financial advisor. We grow money, we manage money. My specialty is retirement planning and financial independence. Because I always tell people, I say, if money has one purpose in a human's life is to give you freedoms. Really, it liberates you. So if money gives you anxiety, you're not doing money right. Money is doing you, but you're not doing money. Okay. Like it's not, you're not working right with it. It's supposed to free you up. It's supposed to give you a sense of security, a sense of liberation, a sense of protection. So if you've got money and you're worried about losing money, worried about doing this with it or holding it or whatever it is that you're doing with it, worried about spending it, right? Then you haven't figured out money really. It's not working for you. It's really not working for you. So money is energy, right? I always say that money is energy and you have to sort of work with that energy and really understand it and grow it and protect it. But I mean, the specific ways in which it ghosts them, I'll give you very specifics. I have lots of clients. One way is if your money is ghosting you, the first sign is you are not facing your bank accounts. You really don't know what's coming in, what's coming out. Like you're avoiding. You're like, I think I have, a few $100,000 in there or something, or a few hundred, but I'm not really sure. Why aren't you sure? Why are you avoiding knowing what's in your bank accounts, where things are? So that's one way in which money can ghost you. The other one is most people have no accountability to their money. So the money's sitting somewhere, but they have no clue what this money is doing for them. Like in real terms, is that money, to me, money is like little soldiers that I deploy every day to go out and bring back and recruit more soldiers back to me. Okay.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing a good job, where am I placing it that it's not able to perform and be in a good position to do that, right? So that's another one. If you ask people, how much money did your money make for you this year? Or what is your return on investment year to date? They have literally no clue. They can't throw a number. Well, I'm not really sure. I just sold a house. Well, how much money did you make in that house? Not always sure, right? Because now you have to deduct your taxes, other things, expenses. So you should have a net. If I ask anyone and say, what is your effective tax rate? The first question is like, I don't know. What are you talking about? Well, that's after all deductions, If you're at 22% after you deducted all of your expenses as a business owner or entrepreneur or whatever you do, what is your net effective tax rate? Is it 20%? Is it 18%? Is it the same, 22%? Right? Again, that's all money. You're not understanding where you're spending and you're not holding your money accountable to what it needs to be doing for you, right?
Yeah. I think people are really scared of money. Like they're scared of money, like they're scared of the paranormal world.
Yes.
And, money is what I tell people is to avoid money from ghosting you. If you can cultivate a relationship with, like a higher power or a God of your understanding, and that's an energy, then you can also cultivate a relationship with money because it's just a different sort of energy.
Correct. Right.
And you created a story with your higher power, and you can create a story with your money as well. Now, you come from like a very highly educated background because you come from being, Amazon and Apple and very high levels there. So you were telling me you had problems with money ghosting you, even in high paying positions that you were
100%. Yeah. I mean, my career took me everywhere. So I started my career in tech. I have a PhD in information science and technology. I also have my executive MBA, and I was rocking and rolling. I had these big jobs, hundreds of people around the globe that I was managing, and we're bringing amazing innovation to the world. But in reality, even though I was making the big bucks, if I sit down and think about how I felt about my money situation, I really didn't have clarity. Okay. So things were good. I could pay for things. I could travel. I could purchase stuff I wanted. Like I wasn't in debt. I had good money habits. But in reality, if I ask myself the question, when can I retire? Am I good for retirement? What does retirement look like for me? How much money will I actually need? And have I saved enough? I didn't have a clue. Now, I did have a financial advisor. And every time I would message my advisor, I would say, hey, how is it going? Like, I'm just asking for input because I'm making a lot of money and I could add more. I could invest more. I could put away more. And she would say, oh, you got a gazillion money. Like, you don't have to worry about it. But what does that mean? Like, that's, again, very high level, fuzzy. I can't work with that. I want specifics. I'm a scientist. I want specifics.
It's whoa. I need the numbers.
Right, exactly. And then she's like, well, you've got plenty. So in 2020, during the pandemic, I actually decided to take control, basically fire my advisor. I love her. She's a good friend, but I have to let her go because, again, I need to love what loves me back. And that process was not really working for me. Took my portfolio and took a really hard look. Now, I know how to invest in the market. I've been investing since I was 16, pretty much, through tabletop process. My dad and my brothers, we were very involved in those kind of things. But then at that point, I was really trying to have a better understanding of where do I stand on this financial? Am I healthy? Am I super healthy? Am I average? Am I below average? Like, where do I stand? So there were a lot of open questions. So I decided to just dive right in and figure it all out. And so I did. I managed my own money and I started getting one license after another. And I started studying because now I needed to roll up my sleeves. I was meeting with other advisors. The challenge is, it was very salesy, right? A lot of times it's like, you just have to take a leap of faith. I do what I do, you do what you do, and everything will be great, And that just wasn't good enough for me, Tracy. So I started taking a different process and I became a real estate investor and I really figured things out. So I started diversifying my investments at the time because I had a lot of other investments. And so I started studying and I went and I hired coaches, thousands of dollars spent over the years. And I would go to classes. I read every book on the planet. And then I decided to really master the game of my money, because if I can't master my money, like whose responsibility is it?
Right. Like if you were earning, way above what an average person was and you couldn't figure it out. How is somebody supposed to figure it out? So what would be some of your guidelines for money to haunt people versus ghost them? Like, let's bring it down to people who maybe they live paycheck to paycheck. Maybe they are in sales and sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. What would you tell people to do?
So that's the feast and famine income.
Okay.
Feast and famine. So anybody that is a business owner or a commission-based job, like in sales, you don't know when the money is going to come in. When it comes in, you don't know when is the next money is going to come in, right? So there's also gaps of income or cash flow. And so in that case, what we set up is we set up a budgeting system that we say, look, just because you have $100,000 in the bank doesn't mean that you can spend $100,000, because that $100,000 might be there for the next 2 years or more. You don't know, because again, there's no clarity of what's coming and when. And so the way that we do it is we say, you need to budget. So now we separate the accounts. So the money comes in and the commission gets deposited in this account. But then you have your own operating account, and your operating account is what has what's considered almost like a salary. Like if you were an employee, right? How much would you pay yourself a month? Say that you, pay yourself $5,000 a month or something like that. Okay. So you take that. So the money goes into a general account, and the general account gives you what you're supposed to work with month in and month out. And you have to watch the levels in that general account and not get too complacent, right? Because now you need to keep supplementing and keep, adding money to that.
What about for the person who lives paycheck to paycheck? What about that, that single parent that wants to make their money work, but sometimes the bills outweigh the income and they've got a couple kids and, they're doing that thing. What can they do to kind of help themselves out?
Yeah, that's a tough situation. So usually when you have a lot of expenses, it could be an income problem. Could be that you're not making enough money, right?
Yeah.
If everything is really under control and you're doing a good job with it, you're like, well, I'm not making enough money. So the question is, how do we solve that, right? Do you need to go get the next job to get a pay increase? Do you need to negotiate for, or maybe create a side hustle, or look at what skills you have and create additional streams of income? But you have to figure something out, because either it's an income problem or it's an expense problem. Which way is it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So for example, like if I was in a situation where I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I can't make enough money, like I can't have more income coming in because my time is tapped out and it's just, I tried to get a promotion, maybe it didn't work. If I was in that situation, I would say, well, can I reduce my expenses? And maybe instead of living in a big home, maybe I can, move in with my sister and, share a room in her house or something like that, right? Where now I can take that rent and shrink it in half. And that would definitely help me get ahead, right? Until I sort of figure out how to make more income. So usually one or the other has to get adjusted for us to really get ahead. But my mother used to tell me, I tell you this, I was 18 years old and I've always been a hustler. Like since a very young age, I've had so much curiosity about the world and investing and how does this work and how does that work? I used to be like the kid that would have their backpack walking down the street, walking into a Fisher Investments or like a Prudential Investments office and say, can I have an appointment? Can I set up an appointment with one of your advisors? And they look me up and down and like, for what? And I'm like, I want to talk to them about investments and money. And then they're like, well, do you have any money to invest? I'm like, not really, but they can tell me how to get there, right? I used to be that kid, right? Like it was kind of funny. That was all before the internet, as you can imagine. So you really couldn't learn on your own like we do today, which is such a blessing. But what happened is my mother told me at 18, I was doing like little side jobs. And then I went to college. And in college, I did tutoring. I did note taking for the disabled. I actually would go to the classes and take notes, and I would translate it into special software so they can study. I did work in the computer lab, so I would help people with different software and all kind of things. So I did all kinds of jobs, and I would earn, but then I would go spend it, because naturally that's what you do. It's like, oh, look, I've got $100. I want to buy this thing. There's always something to buy. That's the truth. There's always something flashy that wants to be bought, right?
Yeah.
And in the US, we're so good at marketing, so people are always spending. So we just keep it going. So my mother, I said, oh, Mom, I want to take you out. Let's go to lunch. Let's go do this. And I would buy her little gifts. And then she said to me, show me your bank statement. Like, what are you talking about? What bank statement? I said, I'm just not making enough money. I'm making maybe $50 here, $100 there. I mean, you can imagine I was a student, very scrappy. So that day we had an argument. My mother and I are very close, but she's been really, truly one of the greatest mentors in my life. So she sat me down and she said, look, you might not like it because this is the hard truth. She said, but time is going to go by. And you're going to look one day and you're going to say, what did I do with all of this? And she said, and you can't do that. She said, I don't care if you make $10, you must put away $2 away for your future self, she said, that future self is sitting there wanting to be paid. And she said, and that future self is a priority. So you always pay her first. And then whatever remains in the account, you do whatever you want to do with. She said, but you have to put money away for the future. And so she taught me this money habit. And it doesn't matter if I get 50 cents, 10 cents of it is going to be put away, right? And so then all of a sudden I had a down payment for my first car, and then I had a down payment for my first house. And you know what I mean? And I started figuring out, well, if I can't put that $2 out of every 10 that I'm getting, which is a lot, it's about 20% of your income.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, maybe I can put 10%, maybe I can put 5%, maybe I can go get another job. Like, it really just sets your mind in the right place, because now I'm solving the right problem.
Yeah.
And the right problem is not that if I make more money, I would be okay. Because if I make 1,000 and I spend it, if I make 1 million, I guarantee you I'll spend it too. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
So
like, have you seen, and for those out there, we're going to have a Patreon only podcast with her, and she's going to be spilling more of the tea about myths and money and spirituality. And she's got some good gifts. Join the Patreon. My $5 and up levels get all the juicy goodies for free, including her. But have you seen like a lot of these shows with lottery winners? Have you ever watched some of these documentaries?
100%.
Have you ever had a lottery winner client, and all their money just ghosts them?
I have not, but lottery winners, normally, it's one of the best examples about more money is not going to solve any of your problems. Okay. So I'm glad you bring that up, because lottery winners is a great example, because they think they have an income issue, but then they win the lottery, and within usually 3 years or less, they are worse off than they were ever before. Like, worse off, not even at the same level anymore, worse, deeper in poverty, because it's all about money habits. It's all about the mindset. How do we think about money? What are our habits? So if your habit today, you're saying, I have a future self that I owe at least 10% of everything I bring in today, because that future self is important to me, then that's a habit. That's a behavior that you're developing within your system, right?
Yeah.
And you have to take that percentage and you have to put it away. And then what you have there is spent. Like, that's what happens with real estate agents. You see them all the time. They sell, $1 million home and they get a nice big fat check. And then 6 months later, they're broke. Like, how is that possible? Because they think what they see in that account is what needs to be spent, because it's a habit. It's a mindset. And the question is like, no, this is your cash flow. This is your general account. That's your general income coming in. If you make $1 million, Tracy, you don't have to spend $1 million. Flash news, right? Like, news flash. You don't have to spend $1 million. If you're living on 100,000, that's wonderful. The question is, what can you do with the 900 or whatever remaining after taxes, and really invest it to generate more money for yourself? Because the more that you allow your money to work for you, hopefully in a more passive way, the more freedom and flexibilities that you have in life. And that's just a beautiful thing. A peace of mind is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes, it really is. So it's let's get your money to haunt you, not ghost you.
Yes.
Yes. And you work with a foundation specifically with women, right? Yes. Women, and you educate, and you have a best-selling book, and you've got all kinds of goodies.
I do. So I launched the Deima Noah Foundation. So you can find that on deimanoah.org. And the foundation, and the foundation is about protecting women's income, because that's really empowering independence, right? Like if we don't protect women's income, there's no independence. We can't leave a bad relationship. We can't leave a toxic work environment, right? It's very important to protect our income. Our income is our livelihood. So it protects women's income and to really ensure independence. And then it looks to provide a lot of tools on financial literacy. So we have a beautiful financial literacy program, Get Rich With Me, which actually started as a TV show in a local Washington, D.C. channel that reaches about 6.5 million households. And so then I decided to take that Get Rich With Me and turn it into a book series. And the very first book is actually being released now. It's Get Rich With Me Mindset. So mindset. So this first book is truly life-changing because it tells you all of the stories about how you need to shift your mind to the right money habits. The second one I'm working on right now is Get Rich With Me Blueprint. So after I shift your thinking on how to think about money and how you want your money to haunt you, not ghost you, right?
Yeah.
Now you come into the blueprint, and the blueprint is how do you precisely implement every step? And then of course it's a 33-book series. So I'm going to have it for every stage of life, every type of income. I'm going to have, for example, as an example, money is as certain as the air we breathe, I always say, right? I don't care if you're disabled, if you're young, if you're old, if you live too long, if you're sick, if you're healthy, if you're man, woman, it doesn't matter. Money is certain. It's a certain thing in life. So financial literacy is a very basic human right. It's not an elective. It's not a luxury. It's a basic human right. So the foundation has really been set to make it a basic human right. So when we send our kids to school, they're learning reading and financial literacy, how to work with money. That's really my higher purpose. That's my goal.
Yes. And you can get more of this information over at our Patreon only. There's a bunch of links down in the notes to if you want a one-on-one consultation, if you want to, connect with Deima in any sort of way, just look below. All the information is there. But if you want the juicy juice, come on over to the spooky old Patreon. That link is below as well. And I think that the work that you're doing, I love that you're incorporating the spirituality and understanding that it is, it's a mindset, it's a spirituality, it's an energy to work at. It's not a have-have. It's not a good and evil, a have or a have not. It's an energy to work with.
Correct.
On there.
Yeah. So literally the book starts with money. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you want to play a game now?
Sure. I would love that.
Okay, let's play a game. And we are going to play our fan favorite game called Book It or Book It.
Okay.
This is where we're going to go on one of my favorite Instagram accounts called Cheap Old Houses. And we are going to spy into these houses because that is what I love to do. I love to drive by houses and wonder, what does it look like in there? Or it's, about to get demolished, and what did it look like? And so we're going to go in there. We're just going to kind of investigate and see, what energies do we pick up on? Would we want to stay there an evening? Would we want to book it the hell out of there? How about that?
I like it. I love it. I can't wait.
Okay, let's do the magic of, we are going to screen share. There we go. Yes. And our first contestant. Okay. Can you see this beauty?
I can see it.
Okay. Let me go ahead, and we don't have to do that. All right. We are in, y'all, let's see. I'm going to turn that off. Where are we at? We are in Jonestown, Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the next contestant. She is only 34.9. Okay. This is a really cheap listing. And this tells me we're going to find some juicy goodies inside for being that cute. It does say great opportunity for a handyman looking to restore this 3-bedroom, 2-bath, right? That means you are going to be working day and night, just to let you know, day and night on this. So from the outside, we've got a 2-story, possibly 3rd with an attic space. She looks like she's leaning to the side.
I was going to
I mean, it looks like the porch might be falling apart, but I mean, that's fixable. I'm willing to go inside. I'm willing to take a look around. Okay.
even the fence is also leaning. I don't know. Is the building next to it as well leaning, Tracy, or is that just
I
me?
don't, I am not sure. I think the whole darn thing is leaning. We've got a couple broken windows. We've got some issues. That handyman's up. Yes, that handyman's gonna be busy.
Some beautiful woodwork, though.
Gorgeous woodwork in all of these homes. But what I can say about this is that you better be prepared. It looks like there could be some nosy spirits that still like to roam these halls, because I keep hearing like instruments, like somebody liked to play like a loud trombone or something here at one time, like almost like a teenage kid or something going up and down them stairs. This house gives me the energy of like, you better be ready to have guests over. This house looks like it was yeah, that ceiling's falling down in there, girl. I don't know if we can stay here.
I don't think we can, Stacy. It doesn't feel very inviting. Yeah, it feels noisy. It has some good light.
It definitely has some good light. Like, this would be a good room to have like a festivity. I wonder if it was the parlor or salon or front room at one time, but it is definitely, the ceiling is coming down upon you, right? This reminds me of old frat houses I would go to in my college days.
Yeah. Wow, look at the little hallway where the built-ins.
Yep.
Very interesting.
Deima, if there's something in the world that I actually love and covet, it is some built-in shelving. And if you could ever build me a corner curved Cheerio cabinet, top to ceiling, ceiling to floor, oh my God, I would you would never pull me out of that room. Yeah. We have what I absolutely love
What's
the most.
the story with the flooring?
Yep. Looks like nobody took care of it.
Yeah.
It looks like, and it has pocketed doors.
Oh, I love pocketed doors. My favorite thing.
It reminds me it just says to me, like, I have made it in this world. I have wooden pocketed doors that close off things to other people. But I love that. Yeah, it feels like a lot of people danced in this house. It feels like this house at one time was like the house that you would go to in the neighborhood that like everybody gathered at.
Yeah, potluck parties and events and gatherings and birthdays.
Oh, wow. More ceiling coming down. So I would definitely take a breather mask in here, y'all, if you do come in here. But we do have the luxurious built-in, it looks like closets or those kind of dip.
It's almost like a big wardrobe unit or something, right?
It really, really does. I wonder if that's more in a front room or some kind of main storage. No. We have the worst thing that I hate seeing in these houses, and that's mustard colored yellow on the walls with brown trim windows. Oh my God, who did this? This is just, I think I would get too nauseous in here.
Yeah.
I would love this room though, if it was painted a way different color, something a little bit more tame in here. It feels like this house got lonely though. It feels like somebody aged in this house and quite possibly passed away here for sure.
It kind of lost its glorious days in a way slowly over time, right?
It really did. I feel like somebody occupied this house for quite some time, like a matriarchal woman. Now, I love spaces like those top, I don't want to call them attic spaces, but they're kind of like the top nooks or, I don't know what to call them. but just kind of really different asymmetrical ceilings on the top level. I really love a good room. Like this could be my own personal parlor, reading room, meditation. Yeah. All right. You want to see another one?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
This is fun.
Okay. So I'll give you a choice. We can see a mock-up of an Italian style Renaissance house, or we can, or we can go to, where is that one at? We can go to Salem, Ohio. What would you like?
I'm leaning towards Ohio.
Okay.
Let's see what's the Salem.
Okay.
Wow.
You see this beauty?
Oh my goodness.
Yep. She's a beauty. We're Salem, Ohio, and we're going for 11870. Doesn't really say, I don't really find a year that this was built, but this is a very large 3-story. I can't even tell if this is brick or wood or both of it. It even has the twisted chimneys on it, 3 twisted chimneys.
That's the first thing that caught my eye, and you really don't see that anytime in human history.
No.
Like, that's very, very unique.
No, this is nestled in the heart of town. It says it's a 4-bedroom local landmark featuring famous spiraled chimneys and everyone knows and loves. Well, then the city should buy this and keep it up. But that's just, my little smarty pants opinion of it. I would say I'm dying to go in. I got to see. I need to know what's inside this house.
I love that little bay area, that white sticking out in that room.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting room to look at.
It would be. I'm looking up top at that top little tower lookout. I want to see what's up there. Oh yeah, there's the chimneys.
Look at that. Very intricate brickwork.
Yep. And very detailed painting on the outside and stonework too. That's gorgeous. I think that's your window.
That's the window.
That is the window.
That's a reading nook right there.
It is. That is a very good meeting spot right there. I imagine some family decisions happened within that nook,
Like that. Yeah.
Oh,
wow. Look
at that fireplace and that woodwork. That is insulation?
Looks like insulation, yeah. The drywall had been removed or something.
We definitely need some big, this is beyond handyman. This is like she needs a whole entire lift. Not a facelift, a whole body lift here, y'all.
Handy company.
Exactly. But I can imagine. I wonder if somebody who wasn't really well known in the town or the area didn't build this and live in it at one point. Like a very well-known family. Because I feel like this house, this whole land is a pun on words, trying to be revived. And I would,
It's grand for sure. I mean, even the ceilings, I think they're much higher. It's not very clear from the pictures, but it looks like it has higher ceilings, which is kind of different for that time.
For that time, and all wood doors, handcraft made, solid. Oh, wow, look at that stair.
Very elaborate. I love the detailing. Yeah, really nice.
I do. I just kind of wonder, this place would need a serious clearing, and a revival. I could see them making this a museum.
Yes.
I think that staircase is just stunning, but it has the under the staircase nook thing, which creeps me out.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Because I kind of think
I can hear squeaking. Do you hear squeaking? I'm looking at this picture and I hear that the stairs are squeaking. Now, I don't know because we're not there, but
more than likely, I can imagine it. Maybe you're picking up on the residual energy that you hear coming from there. I mean, this is just, wow. Okay, another view of the staircase. So the ceiling is falling in on itself once again. We can, dust that off just a bit. They're really, really honing in on this staircase here.
It's a big asset, I guess.
It is. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Up. Ceiling is completely gone, y'all. No wonder. But this house looks like it needs to be seriously loved. Wow, look at all these rooms.
Yeah.
This looks like a place where there's like multiple, kind of like generational of hauntings happening in here. I just can't shake the feeling of a man who maybe either built this or was a part of the community for a very long time still wants to occupy this house. And I wonder if that's the staircase to the attic. I wonder if that's a butler chute, where you'd put your plate in and then you pull the line and it would go back down to the butler.
Yes, I've seen those systems, and this house definitely was built to be seen, was built to be noticed.
Yes. Yeah, this house, I wonder, are they going to show us what it is? Oh. Well, they leave us on a cliffhanger. They won't show up if it is or if it isn't. Look, even people in the comments are saying we need to know about the original owner.
Yes.
Everybody is, this place is magical. Yes, it is.
I feel that this house was truly built to be seen, to be a focal point for people and community. And it still is kind of the case. You look at it and you can't ignore it, right? With all this time that has passed, it still is an eye catcher.
It is. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of business dealings happened. A lot of business happened in this house. Like an immense amount of deals went down.
Lots of decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. Like lots of decisions had to be made on here. And we are back here, folks. And that is how we play. So I would pick the second place. I'll book it there. The first place, I'll book it out. Because I think the second place was better.
We're in agreement.
I would definitely like the joining the count than the other one. Well, folks, thank you for participating yet in another game of Book It or Book It. And thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Come find us on the Patreon, because we're going to be over there. She is going to be spilling the tea about the myths about your money and how to make it haunt you instead of ghost you even more. And I have a feeling she has some really special surprises for everybody that joins me over there. Because remember, my Patreons who support my $5 and up level do support this podcast. So I thank you guys so much for it. And you guys keep hanging in there, because we have even more juicier episodes coming right at you.
This episode of the Haunted Road Trip Show is brought to you by Studio One Vasie Pilates. To claim your free gift now, check the show notes.
Remember to visit our website at hauntedroadtripsshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. We look forward to seeing you next time, and remember, paranormal history is dying to be heard.